Welcome back for another episode of Strive for 25. Joel Farrell here, and looking forward to sharing with you our guest today.
Welcome to another episode of the Strive for 25 podcast. I've got an amazing guest on today, Sara Chinnock, the owner of Sara's Boxes and Boards. And I'm really excited to have her on today and dig into her story. And I think it's going to be a good one for people out there that may be in a place working for a job that they don't love. And, what else is out there for you to be able to find your dream and go hustle after it. So Sara, a little bit of background for you, for our listeners.
So I actually am a teacher by trade, and I specifically am in the hearing industry. So when I was in the teaching world, I was approached by a medical sales company to come work for them and sell their devices and also do some surgical support. And so I did that. And when COVID hit, I had been thinking that maybe this job wasn't for me anymore because it was requiring me to travel 75 to 80% of the time. And I really wanted to be home with my girls, who are now 18 and 12, but at the time were 16 and 8 or 16 and 10. And I just, made that leap of faith. I started making charcuterie and making experience boxes for people, and made the leap of faith when I just got to the point that I couldn't fathom traveling and leaving my kids at home anymore.
Gotcha. So how long were you in the medical sales world?
So I was in medical sales for 8 years. I started doing surgical support and then switched over to a consumer sales role, and I covered 3.5 states.
So 75% of your time traveling, and that's obviously a grind on your body, but not only that, but relationships, obviously with kids and family and all that stuff. So with that, how long of a time was that on your mind before you took that leap to jump out on your own? How long was that been going through you?
I would say it was about 2.5 years before I did it, that I wanted to do it. And what really happened was I lost my mom to cancer. And I just realized that life is too short to not be doing things that you don't like. But I, grew up with a dad who had the same job his entire life. And so thought that's the way you're supposed to do it. So I thought, maybe I can make this medical sales thing work. And then I actually had a coach who realized that I was not fulfilled and I was not doing what I truly love to do. And so that coach helped me make that leap of faith.
Wow. That's awesome. Before we continue kind of digging deeper on this, just to kind of give an overview. So you've been doing this for 2 years, and you're recently kind of getting into some other opportunities that are kind of going to enable you to be able to continue to grow your business. Do you want to share a little bit about the opportunities in front of you?
Sure. Yeah. So I started my business. I just started my 3rd year. I opened a brick and mortar in December of 2022, and it was on my 4-year plan to do. I had 5 years. So it was on my business plan that I would do it my 5th year. So I did it at the beginning of my 3rd year. And so I decided I wanted to get bigger and be more of a part of corporate America, and offer them catering and other, gift options. And so that's why I opened my brick and mortar, so that I could be in a commercial kitchen and serve them in that capacity. And due to this, I, started reaching out to different brands that I believed in. And so I actually have a partnership with Boar's Head. And so starting the first week of April, I will be exclusively using Boar's Head's meats, which I'm super excited about because I have bought their meats at the grocery store for years and used them on my charcuterie boards, as well as my family loves their product as well. So I'm excited for that. And I also am on a gifting platform in New York called Snack Magic as well. So I am, my charcuterie is on that platform, but my experience boxes are going to be on that platform as well.
Cool. Yeah. So, I mean, kind of in our previous conversations, a lot of the clients you have are companies, right? Companies
Yes.
and corporations. And so
Yep.
opening up for some pretty big opportunities.
Yep.
And Snack Magic, do you want to give our listeners a little bit of a breakdown on what that is?
Yeah, so Snack Magic is a gifting platform that companies can become a part of, and with that, they can, they can, like when your company has a meeting, they can say, okay, well, I want all of my employees to be able to spend $75 on this platform, and you get to go in and you pick the different snacks that you might want to enjoy during that conference or during that meeting, and they actually ship them to you. The other part of the platform is, sometimes when you do an excellent job or go above and beyond on a project, you may be gifted a Snack Magic gift card, which would allow you to go on to the platform and choose charcuterie or a nice dessert or something like that for you to share with your family and friends.
Cool. So what's going through my brain as we're talking about this, right? I mean, leaving the corporate world, leaving a good job, we're traveling a lot and going into uncharted territory. And if you look back now, you're going on the third and fourth years, what type of advice would you give to somebody that may be in a similar position where, hey, maybe they don't love their job all the way, but you had some help, right? You had a coach that was helping you along the way to
Yep.
kind of push you out there. I mean, what would you tell somebody that's maybe in a similar position?
I would encourage them to put themselves outside their comfort zones because, I love the quote that nothing good happens inside comfort zones. So I would encourage them to push themselves outside that comfort zone and to find the activity or whatever it may be that brings them joy, and then work towards that. Make a plan, an escape. I'm going to call it an escape plan. Okay, so make an escape plan of how you can get out of that job that you don't necessarily like. And mine was, just work until you hit a point that you just can't do it anymore. And that's kind of what I did. So I worked, and then one day I happened to meet someone and just decided, hey, I really want to follow this dream and I really want to follow this goal. And so I waited a few weeks and got my bonus and took the leap of faith a few weeks later.
Cool. The person that was helping you kind of push you out there, right? Your coach. So that person was helping you with, your medical sales job along the way. They were helping you, kind of training you with skills. Or tell us more about that part.
Yep. So my coach actually is someone that I got to help me after I lost my mom. So what happened was I went to traditional counseling, like sometimes you do after you lose a loved one. And they told me that I had a bad childhood and that I needed to seek outpatient therapy. And I just did not believe it. And so that's when a friend of mine actually introduced me to this coach. And so she's like a life coach and / business coach, I should say. And so she helped me with life events, but she also helped me with seeing the part of my job that I liked and the part of the job that I didn't like. And so parts of my job that I loved, which was, partnering with people, collaborating with people, I still do that with my Sarah's Boxes and Boards job. But the traveling and those kinds of things, I don't necessarily do that anymore unless I'm getting to travel with my family for fun or for leisure.
Awesome. So what were the conversations like with, okay, this is where you are, and maybe giving that nudge to get out there? What was that like?
So she was the one, who helped push me outside my comfort zones. And she just, told me that I have to make the decision for myself, but that, unless you take the leap of faith, that it's not going, you're just going to stay in a circular pattern that's going to keep you miserable, and you're not going to make any forward movement. And so she, really played an integral part in pushing me outside that comfort zone and encouraging me to get out of that circular pattern and to take that leap of faith.
So if that person wasn't in your life, do you think things would have turned out differently, in terms of the transition?
Um, I think I honestly, I think I still would have taken that leap of faith at some point, but I think I probably would have waited one more year. But I think, honestly, what one of the other big things that helped me make that leap of faith was in my career, I had trained people at the company that I was at. And one of the people that I had trained actually became my boss. And she and I did not see eye to eye on work-life balance, how you treat your employees, those kinds of things. So I felt like that's actually one of the things that also gave me a push, is that I just got fed up with that as well. So between having to travel and dealing with a manager that I didn't necessarily care for, that helped me make that leap of faith. But like you said, I think you said if I didn't have the coach, it probably would have taken me another year to do that.
Yeah, I just think it's such an interesting part of that dynamic of just how we decide to do things, how we choose, how we make plans. The comfort zone, right? Like me personally, there's certain things that I know that I need to be doing that, but I don't have time, or I got other things to do, and it's like getting outside your comfort zone. And sometimes it's very hard to do. And sometimes you need support and other people in your circle that know where you're trying to go, and you can see it from a third party perspective, and give you the extra support, accountability, or whatever it may be. And but that comfort zone, it would be so many people that I see get stuck in it, and there's so much opportunity out there that to go get it, make it happen. But that comfort zone, up and down, when things are not going well, you rally, you work hard to try to be able to get out of that situation, and all those activities that you do to get out of that situation, get back to equilibrium. It's like, well, you got there, you get back to normal. Well, now what? And most people probably go back to their old habits. And it's like, well, if you just kept on going and kept going doing what you're doing, you can break out of that comfort zone. But sometimes just going up here can be just as uncomfortable as where it's down here. And so we revert back to our normal. So that's why I just think it's so interesting digging into these things, because, me personally, I talk to a lot of people that are in different stages of their journeys, whether it be life, work, and, people that see this amazing story. You're out there doing your own thing, making things happen, making amazing connections and with corporations and doing the thing you love. There are so many people that have that same type of idea, whether it be, whatever industry they're in. And, that's why I love talking about this, because if I can do it, I never thought I'd have a podcast, never even dreamt of it. And here I am a year later, over 50 episodes in, never even thought of it. So if I can do it, anybody can do it. Not to say anything about you, but it's like, there's people out there that are doing things and going after their dreams and passions. And why not, share those stories, and maybe you can pass on some ideas and tips. From a travel standpoint, you mentioned, New York, different things. So with the current setup, you don't have to do a lot of traveling unless you choose to, unless you can bring your family, right? So, where have you been going with your family in the last 3 years?
So, my husband and I started giving, when I went to my corporate job, my husband and I actually started giving our kids experiences, not gifts. Because we remember experiences we had as children, right? We don't necessarily remember the gifts that we got as children, unless like maybe it was the big Nintendo or the Atari. Those are the two big things that I remember from when I was a child, or maybe a bicycle that I got. But so we have gone to Jamaica. We've done, we've done different kinds of lessons, cooking lessons, sewing lessons. We've gone to Great Wolf Lodge. We've gone to Hawaii and gone on helicopter rides. We're actually about to go to Puerto Vallarta in Iceland. So it just depends. But my kids just, we always like making memories and talking and laughing about those memories. So we, my husband and I just keep, saying that, how are we going to outdo this next experience? How are we going to outdo this next experience? But it's not that, it's just giving our kids the opportunity to get away and to see different cultures and those kinds of things and the way people live.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, so you mentioned your kids are now 18 and 12, right?
Yep.
So let's take your 18-year-old, for example. They're getting to that point where they're approaching, adulthood a few years down the road. These entrepreneurial experiences that you've been going, that you've gone through, how do you think that's rubbing off on your kids?
Well, I know it's rubbing off on my 18-year-old. She's actually going away to college. She's going back to Alabama, where I'm from, to college next year. And she actually just started selling jewelry. And she started doing that because she knows that permanent jewelry is becoming popular, is huge on TikTok, and it's a huge trend. And so she wanted to get in on the bottom level so that she can do it, and then she can do it next year when she's away at college, then potentially get people underneath her so she can continue to build a business. So she definitely has the entrepreneur spirit, and she does a lot of work here with me at my location. So I think that she sees what I do, and she sees my successes, and I see her doing some of the same exact things that I do.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What was the name of the jewelry? What was it called?
It's J Bloom.
J Bloom.
It's actually a local. It's here. It's in St. Charles, Missouri. Their headquarters is in St. Charles, and so she is doing their permalinks. She puts those on individuals.
Oh wow. Okay. I'll have to do a little bit of research on that. I don't know anything about that stuff, but okay. Very, very cool. So the boar's head stuff, what does that mean from an actual product standpoint? Because you and I had talked about kind of the stuff that you're using before versus now using boar heads. Can you take a little bit more into like the differences and why it matters?
Yep. So when I started my charcuterie business, I said that I was going to use high quality meats and cheeses, or artisan meats and cheeses, as well as provide amazing customer service to keep people coming back and to help people remember my name. And so to me, having a partnership with Boar's Head actually allows me to have those artisan meats and cheeses, because they have meats and cheeses, which all of my cheeses will not come from Boar's Head, but some of them come from Fox River Dairy, which is another local company. And they, and they allowed me to try them and determine which one best fit what I wanted for my company. And I want a variety of meats and cheeses, and I want some to be bold, some to be mild, and I want some of them to be different so that people will remember me and my company by the cheeses and by the cheeses and meats that they have, as well as the customer service. So I feel like my partnership with Boar's Head is going to allow me to do just that. It's going to allow me to have amazing artisan meats and cheeses, and it's going to help me provide an even better customer service, because we know the Boar's Head brand, and we know that they have good meats and cheeses, and that they are known actually around the world for their meats and cheeses.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I'm a meat and cheese guy, so I love it. From a Boar's Head perspective, can just anybody running a charcuterie type of business, can they access those types of meats and cheeses? Is that accessible to everybody?
No, it's not. So what I did was I was actually using their meats. I was getting them at the deli, just at the local grocery store, that Schnucks or Fresh Time. But what happened was someone I know knows the sales manager, and offered to introduce me. And I was like, absolutely. And because she knew that I used them and that I really liked them, because, they don't have as many nitrates as other meats do. And they just, they're very proud of the meats and cheeses that they produce because of how well they are made. And so I asked for that introduction, and she introduced me, and I ended up just, saying to them, hey, listen, I'd love for you to come meet me on this day and time. And they did. And they said, they gave me the question, why do you want to use Boar's Head? And, I said it was because I'm a firm believer in using quality products, and I bring quality cheeses and quality charcuterie to the market at this point. And I want to make sure that I can continue to do that. And your brand will allow me to do that. So they are allowing me to use their products based on that. And also, showing them that I had a commercial kitchen and a slicer and the refrigeration and stuff that was required in order to have their meats and cheeses.
Got it. So from a customer perspective, what's an example of a product delivery or something that's been provided to a company event or whatever it is? Like what's an example that you guys provide?
So with companies, the main thing that I've done to date has been grazing tables, and a grazing table is just it's just where you put meats and cheeses, a variety of meats and cheeses out on a table. Some people, sometimes I do it just on, like food grade paper, but sometimes, I use, different bowls and plates and boards and stuff to do that. And I just do the number of people that they have. I just figure out, how much I need to provide, and I do just that. And I make the presentation pretty, and I make it, look appetizing. So they want to try it, and they want to, they want to taste it. So that's the biggest thing. But with my Boar's Head partnership at the beginning of April, I'm actually going to start offering boxed lunches as well. So I'm going to be rolling those out with pricing and things, like I said, and starting at the beginning of April.
Okay. So for listeners, where can they find you on social media and your website?
Yep. So my website is www.sarahsboxesandboards.com, and Sara is Sara, and you spell out A-N-D. And then it's Sarah's Boxes and Boards is my handle on Instagram, on Facebook, on Pinterest. And you can also find me on LinkedIn as well.
So never want to talk about someone's personal information in terms of income. But in this type of a situation, it does come into play, right? Because you got a good job, you get into this self-employed type of scenario. And maybe we talk about it from a percentage standpoint. I mean, when you first started versus where you are right now, I mean, how much of increase have you seen with this business in from year one to year three, for example, in terms of just revenue or income or things like that?
Yeah. So we'll just say I started year one and ended up in the negative. And my tax lady and bookkeeper were like, Sara, you really need to balance this out a little bit. So, but I actually finished year two completely even, which means I sold, I made as much as I purchased. And that happened because when you have a brick and mortar, my husband and I purchased the building as an investment property. But Sarah's Boxes and Boards is in it. And so I needed to purchase, you name it, commercial appliances, items for my event space, bookshelves for my retail space. So ending at zero, I'm very happy with. And I know that I'll just continue to grow. But I know that I had a 50% increase in what I made year one to year two. And I'm hoping to have at least 100%, if not more than that, from this year. I mean, from year two to the end of year three.
Gotcha. So the purchase of the property and all the equipment, I mean, that's basically an investment in your business, right? So
right.
You put the dollars in, it goes into your expenses, ends up zero, but you're investing in your business, and all that stuff is now paid for. Part of it's paid for, right? So now it's
right.
Going to allow you to be able to scale and do more.
Right.
Go ahead.
The brick and mortar is actually going to allow me to scale. So the brick and mortar is what's going to allow me to continue to bring on corporate clients and continue to do corporate gifting, which is what's going to allow me to continue to scale. So that's what the brick and mortar, that's why my husband and I decided that the brick and mortar was needed. Not only was it taking over our house, the contents of my company, but it also is allowing me to do something that I couldn't do within the four walls of my home.
Gotcha. And do you want to share where your location's at?
Yeah, so I'm located in OFallon, Missouri. My address is 8803 Veterans Memorial Parkway, and I'm at the corner of Veterans Memorial and Woodlawn.
Gotcha. So talking about meat and cheese is making me think about wine. Not gonna lie. And it's St. Patty's Day. We're wearing our greens.
Yeah.
So alcohol, is a important part of St. Patty's Day from a certain respect, right? So, from a pairing standpoint, is that something that you personally enjoy? Do you enjoy wine, spirits? What are some of the things that you enjoy from
Yeah,
meal
no,
standpoint?
I do. I do love wine. And I do love some spirits as well. But I am a wine drinker if I'm going to have something typically. And I do, look at pairings and those kinds of things. So, you're going to want, if you're going to have fruity cheese, if you're going to have cheeses that have fruit in them, you can drink that with a bubbly if you want, or a champagne of some kind, or rosé. But then, if you want something heavier, that's when you're going to want to get your cheddars or your cheeses that are bolder. So, my husband and I, every time we go to taste cheeses, that's what we do. We get out a bottle of wine, we drink wine while we taste it. So, definitely, they compare well. But I mean, you compare beers with, I was on Fox 2 News this week, and you can actually pair beers with charcuterie as well.
That's awesome. Do you want to share an example?
Oh,
Like
you mean like for beers?
yeah, like an IPA
Yeah.
or lager, like what goes what with what?
Yep. So, for beers, if you're going to drink, like a cider or something like that, you typically pair that with a softer cheese. So your goat cheeses, your bries, your mozzarella would be a soft cheese. But then if you're going to have an ale, a porter would be all the way over. And with a porter, we're going to need, some cheeses that are kind of bold, to kind of counteract that porter, because those porters are kind of thicker and more bold. So you're going to need a bolder cheese for that. So, just like with wine, there are cheeses that pair with beers as well.
That's awesome. So from a meat standpoint, here in my house, personally, I'm a sandwich guy, so I like to pile up my sandwiches with meats and cheeses and whatever. What are some of the cheeses that you love to provide? I'm sorry, some of the meats that you love to provide, and what can people expect in terms of the options?
Yeah. So, on my charcuterie board, you're going to see a Genoa salami or a hard salami. You're going to see a prosciutto, a pepperoni. Um, but you also might see, something a little bit different. Like you might see a fillet of beef if you're going to, or a London broil, if I'm going to have a cheddar on there, kind of bold cheddar. So it's just going to kind of depend. And sometimes it'll also be seasonal. So, for example, right now I might do something more of a bolder cheddar and things with, for example, St. Patrick's Day. But when it comes to Mother's Day, you're going to see something more like a prosciutto, or a meat that's not as bold, because you're going to have lighter, more airy cheeses, for Mother's Day. So it does change throughout the year. I do have seasonal cheeses that I use. And I also change up my meats as well. But when it comes to my grazing tables, the prices of my grazing tables depend on the number of the number of meats that you want to do. But you can, taste the meats and cheeses and determine which one you want. So you
That's
can kind of
awesome.
customize it if you want.
Yeah, you're talking about the fillet of beef and London broil, my mouth's watering just thinking about that here. But like, are we talking like thin slices? Like, how do you guys do that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, for sure. So I would do a thin slice, and you would see it. Obviously, I'd put it out there on an artisan way. I'd fan it, or I'd roll it, or something like that. And I would most likely put it next to the cheese that I would encourage you to eat it with. And with something like that, a lot of people like a horseradish sauce. So you could even use a horseradish sauce if you wanted. So, just so you know, starting in April, you will see that I'm once a month. You can actually come in and build your own charcuterie board, so, or charcuterie box. So on those Saturdays, you can come in and you can try your cheeses, and you can say, okay, Sarah, I want a fourth of a pound of this, a fourth of a pound of that, a fourth of a pound of this, and then I want a half a pound of this meat, and half a pound of that meat. and I actually make that charcuterie board for you or charcuterie box for you. So you can pick and choose. But on a normal day, when you purchase my charcuterie boards, they're going to have a variety of mild cheeses, bold cheeses, your brie, your goat cheese, and then your meats as well. And most likely the meats you're going to see are prosciutto, pepperoni, and either Genoa or hard salami.
Gotcha. From a geography standpoint, are your clients all local, some outside of Missouri? Where are your clients at?
So a majority of my clients right now are in Missouri. They're in St. Louis. The St. Louis metro area is the way that my map looks. But I am able to ship anywhere in the continental U.S. I do have particular charcuterie that I'm able to ship anywhere in the continental U.S. So I feel I will start seeing a shift in that map as to where some of my business comes from, since I am able to do that and I am doing more corporate gifting.
So from an entrepreneur standpoint and kind of going through a business plan, going through a process of making this a reality, kind of going backwards in time, what were some of the resources or tools that you used to make this dream become a reality in terms of tax prep, organization prep, business plan prep? What are some of the things you had to do to be able to make this happen?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I actually have quite a few people ask me this, and business plans are huge. If you want to run a successful company, I strongly encourage you to sit down and find a business plan that works for you. I actually just bought one off Etsy. And what I did was it allowed me to look at my goals for the next 12 months. And then my next, it looked at 12 months, 3 years, 5 years. And, like I said before, on my 5-year plan, when I first started my business and did my business plan, I had a brick and mortar. So I'm in the process now of going back and, modifying my business plan based on that. Also, I am having to modify my business plan because I purchased my brick and mortar in May of 2022, and I expect it to be open in August of 2022, but I didn't officially open to the public until January 2023 because of November. I had just a week of November and December, and those are such busy times for me that I didn't feel that I had the amount of time that I wanted to give it to give what I needed to do in order to open my brick and mortar in a way that I wanted to do it. So I would encourage you, like I said, definitely do a business plan. I would definitely meet with a lawyer. If you want to do a brick and mortar, I would encourage you to potentially make another LLC. So for example, my house is owned by Southern Tide Properties, but Sarah's Boxes and Boards functions within Southern Tide Property. And so I actually pay rent to Southern Tide Property each month. And then everybody who uses my kitchen or my event space or my conference room, they actually pay Southern Tide Properties as well. And that's so that if something happens on our brick and mortar, within the walls of the brick and mortar, outside the brick and mortar, in the parking lot or something like that, that it doesn't take Sarah's Boxes and Boards out. So I strongly encourage you to do that. I encourage you to get a bookkeeper, and they really keep you on top of everything and making sure you're doing everything you can so that you can do all the tax work and stuff that you need to do at the times when you need to do it. And then I would say the biggest thing for me, Joel, has been there's just some things in life that I don't enjoy doing. Like, I don't enjoy coming up with things for social media. It stresses me out. It doesn't bring me joy. So I actually have a virtual assistant in a marketing company who work together and help my social media be what it is today. And they're the ones who help me bring products to the market and those kinds of things. So I just encourage you to surround yourself with people who can help you and support you, and so that you can, create the company that you want to create, and create the vibe that you want to create. Because if it weren't for my marketing team and my virtual assistant, I wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Everybody's, passions and what they want to do and not do is going to be different, but I think it's really cool to be able to talk about this stuff, because you mentioned me with a lawyer, and that lawyer was able to help you kind of make sure you're going in the right direction with maybe your LLC and your structures of your companies.
Yep. They're help me with contracts and all kinds of things that you don't think that you need, but you do. You need those things in order to be running a company and not get sued.
What, in terms of the type of lawyer, how would you describe that the specific field that attorney, specializes in? How would you describe that if someone were to search for something?
Yeah. So, I mean, you can, a lot of attorneys, help you help you make your company, or do an LLC. They help you draw up all the paperwork and those kinds of things. But I specifically would work with a business lawyer, someone who specializes in business and understands business, because they're able to guide you and help you think of things that you haven't thought of, because you haven't been in that experience. So it's better for them to tell you about it than you experience it and then go, oh my gosh, I really need this now. Because, I already have all of those things in place, so that if something were to happen, that I know that I'm covered and I'm going to be good. And even the liability insurance, Joel. I mean, I didn't think about like when I did my liability insurance, I had to tell them how many steps I had going out of my building. Did I have a ramp for ADA compliance? Like all the things that you don't even think of that might be a problem or cause a problem.
Totally. Yeah. So lawyer, bookkeeper, insurance, marketing, virtual assistant. There's a lot of things that we can probably dig deeper on. In terms of things that you love to do, what's the one or two things that you just absolutely love to do with this business?
Well, something that I've learned to love to do, Joel, and it's taken me time, is network. Because I've learned that if I don't network, I don't meet people, and then I can't grow my brand, right? So I have to network in order to continue to build my brand. And it's not something, like I said, that I'd love to do. I had to sit in my car and psych myself up to go into a room of people that I may not know anybody, but it has really helped me build my brand. The other thing that I love doing is I love, constructing boards or boxes for people, and then hearing the feedback that they give, or them sending me a picture of that board with a circle of some cheese of, oh my gosh, I have to know what kind of cheese this is. So just it just helps me continue, like I said, to build my brand. And I continue to hold myself to the standard that I want to hold myself to, because that's what I want to be known for, is for my customer service and for my brand. I want people to see my logo, and I want them to know that it's Charcuterie and Experience Boxes.
So being an entrepreneur on your own versus working at a company, a corporation with a manager, what's that like from a day-to-day standpoint in terms of ability to stay on track, stay focused? Some people are very self-motivated. Some people are less self-motivated. How would you describe that for yourself in terms of entrepreneur on your own versus previous?
So I'm very self-motivated. I've always been a list person. But I'm also one of those people that I let things fall to the bottom of my list because I don't want to do them. And so that's example of why I have a marketing company and a virtual assistant, because they're able to do those things that I don't love to do. And they allow me to continue to network, continue to make charcuterie, continue to, build that brand that I'm trying to build, doing the different activities that I do.
So networking, right? Like that's something that not everybody wants to do, but we do it because we probably need to or have to.
Right.
When you go into a room, who is the ideal type of referral for you? Do you know exactly who's like the sweet spot for a referral or a connection for
I
what
mean,
you
who
do?
is my avatar?
Yeah, yes, yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah. So my avatar is a business owner who likes to treat their employees well and appreciates their employees, because I think employee appreciation is extremely important. Those employers, those company owners, or key stakeholders in companies, I would love the opportunity to talk to them and help them continue to let their employees know that they appreciate them, and continue to allow their companies to give their employees the experiences that they want them to have.
So your commercial space, right? I think you
Yep.
mentioned that somebody can maybe even rent it out if they wanted to.
Yep. Yep. So I have a commercial kitchen. Right now it's pretty much full. I'm at capacity with the number of people who couldn't use it. I have a variety of different people. I have someone who makes Italian, creamy Italian dressing. I have someone who makes turmeric tea. I have someone who makes pizza kits. Someone who makes cotton candy cakes, someone who makes fruit leather. So I have a variety, but we're all able to work together because we're able to work at different days and different times. Some of us work in the evening, some of us work during the day. So it allows us, it allows me to help pay my mortgage and help pay the bills. But I do have an event space. It is rented for $50 an hour, which is extremely affordable. It can hold up to about 27 is what OFallon tells me that I can have in here. And then I also have a conference room that seats 8 people as well. And that one's $25 an hour. But my event space, you can hold an event, you can do a lunch and learn. You can just have a party if you want. There's a wide variety of things that you can do in my event space.
And how many do you? We'll talk about that later. So from a standpoint of, you got the event space, you've got other revenue that's coming in with the ability to rent it out to other companies. What are some of the next goals you have from the business?
I would say my next goals are to continue to grow. Like I said, I mean, I hope to, I hope to 2 or 3 fold. No, I plan to 2 or 3 fold. I'm not going to say hope. I plan to 2 or 3 fold my income from last year. And that's by just continuing to push myself outside that comfort zone and continue to meet people. Just kind of like I met you, just continuing to go to different kinds of events and just meet different kinds of people.
Yeah, your previous job and job experiences, what would you say that those past ups and downs experiences, has shaped kind of this path for you? What do you take from that, good, bad, and indifferent, that's helped you down this path?
So I'd say the biggest thing is my creativity was stifled at my last job. They didn't want me to be creative. They didn't necessarily want me to think outside the box. So I think I just left there kind of like with my, on fire. And I just wanted to build something that was different and unique. And I feel like that's what I'm doing. I'm paving that ground. And charcuterie is a niche market anyway, right? I mean, there's not that many of us out there. It's not like your CVS or your Walgreens that you see them on every corner. There's maybe one in your community, if there's one in your community at all. But I think you also have to set yourself apart from that competition. And I feel like that's what I'm doing with the partnerships that I'm making and the different steps that I'm taking. So I think that, partnering is something that I brought from my old, from my job, collaborating with people, because you always can get ideas and things from those people. But I also decided that I didn't want to be, that I didn't want a corporation that was going to try to put me in a box that I didn't belong in. So I think that those 2 things are what has helped me be who I am and build the brand that I wanted to build. And I continue to build.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing that we talk about on this channel, right? Like, putting a time frame on something and deadlines, not to go down a different tangent, but like, you put a deadline on something, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or 2 months or 1 year, when that deadline's coming, race to get that product or that project done. And maybe that delivery isn't as top notch as you want it to be. And, that's just how most people operate. But, some of the greats out there, they operate from a different kind of mindset. They count up to a deadline,
Mm-hmm.
they don't care how long it's going to take to reach this goal. I'm not going to stop until I get there, kind of a mindset. And so
Yep.
kind of with that in mind, when you look at, this type of opportunity, you've opened up doors, you've gotten connected to some corporations and whatnot. Is there something that you've done on this entire journey, just working diligently on your passion, on your dream, that a door opened that you never even thought of, that came out of nowhere when you think about 3 years ago that you never even thought about?
Yeah, so I had a really interesting experience. Last year, I was in year 2. I was only not even halfway through year 2, and someone found me from a hashtag on LinkedIn. And this individual told me, I have to meet you. I've been watching you on LinkedIn and watching what you're doing, and I just really want to meet you. And I went and met that individual. And because of that hashtag, which was hashtag employee engagement, hashtag employee appreciation, I met this individual, and she's the one who actually introduced me to Snack Magic. And she's the one who continues to encourage Snack Magic to reach out to me for the different items that I offer. For example, my experience boxes, or my charcuterie boards that I can get engraved. If it weren't for this one person, I would have never met Snack Magic. I never would have been able to be on these platforms. Is it something that I strive to do? Yeah, but I had no idea how to get there. And it's all about just putting yourself out there and talking to people, and just continuing to, I don't want to say be on your mission, but be on your mission. Just continue to follow your path and be the person that you want to be. And someone will meet you there. Someone will meet you in your path that you never expected, and you will get something that you never expected. So I never expected to meet that individual. I never expected to have a partnership with Boar's Head, but just because I continue to push myself each and every day, I've been able to get where I am today. And people say, well, do you have bad days? Yes, I have bad days. There's days that I want to stay in bed. There's days that I do stay in bed. But I have more good days than bad days. And when you get knocked down a notch, just pick yourself up, shake it off, and just keep going. Because if you let the naysayers or the people who don't believe in you, if you let them break you down, they will break you down, and you won't be the person or build the brand that you want to build.
I love that. Yeah, the naysayers, right? I mean,
Yeah,
you start
the
doing
naysayers,
something
they're watching, they're out there.
We do something that people don't understand, or they don't get it, or they're jealous. Like,
Yep.
it's just human nature to maybe knock somebody down.
Yep.
From a kind of a support standpoint, right? Your husband, your kids, other people, when you have a bad day, or when you are have questions, what's that like in terms of a support system? Because I'm an entrepreneur. The mortgage business, we're 100% commission, right? We don't have necessarily bosses above, so it's a different type of mindset than just your W-2 job.
Absolutely.
How would you describe kind of the support system, where you use it, how you use it?
Yep. So I would say my husband, he's my biggest cheerleader. He's my biggest fan. He believes me and supports me 100%. He's the one that allowed me to start this journey and to follow my passion and to do what I love, because he knew I wasn't 100% happy doing what I was doing. But I also have, girlfriends and other people who support me and cheer me on. And the thing that I have found so interesting about being an entrepreneur is it's not always the people that are closest to you that are your cheerleaders. Sometimes it's one group removed. So, I'm in a group called Little Black Book Women in Business. We're in St. Charles and St. Louis County and also over in Illinois. And I've met so many amazing women through that. And many of us are entrepreneurs. And so the owner herself is an entrepreneur. So it allows us to share our stories and to help each other out, and build each other up, and, help each other when we're having a bad day or we fall over and scrape our knee, like we all are here for each other. And I always say, find your tribe and love them hard. I mean, not everybody is going to be your tribe, and that's okay. But don't let those people that aren't your tribe get you down either. Like, just kind of let them continue to watch, because believe me, they're going to continue to watch. But that tribe that you have, continue to give back to them just as they're giving to you. And, you will be extremely successful.
Wow. Every expletive, I fucking love that. I got chills down my spine hearing you say that. I'm sorry.
That's
but
fine.
Finding your tribe, like naysayers, your people, the people that may be closest to you, maybe they don't get it. Maybe they don't say anything, and not saying anything and supporting can be just as, hurtful or impactful as people that are actually saying something to you. But then finding the people that are going down the same path as you, kind of have those certain dreams that you're going in, and being able to find those people to help you. I love that. And to kind of give my illustration of that, like I started posting on Instagram on July 12th last year, and I posted every single day, and just decided I was going to do it for many other reasons. And, started getting more active on Twitter. And as I was seeing other people that were kind of in a similar position with me, smaller accounts that were growing, I started noticing these people posting consistently every single day. And now because I was doing this work myself, now I saw them in a different light. Like, I see what you're doing, bro or sister. I see what you're doing. You're out there every single day, being consistent, going towards your goal. And, having that tribe that you mentioned, be able to find people that are going down the same path, passing on messages, DMing people, connecting, helping people with ideas and things like that. And so from a social media standpoint, I've seen that personally from a different light that I never even thought before. But like the group that you mentioned,
Little Black
Books. Yeah. Little Black Book. I mean, it's so important to be able to have the people that are going through the same challenges in some regard, to be able to find them and be able to support each other. And that's the thing that I always talk about, from a real estate standpoint. I've kind of gone on my own real estate journey without really a mentor. And I look back on it, and it's like, any advice I would give to somebody is go find a mentor, and don't stop till you find one, because having that mentor that can help you and support you, that's already been down that road, and help you accelerate those mistakes into successes, is so important. And that reminds me, I was going to ask you this, the coach that helped you kind of push yourself, out there faster, that person maybe, or any other people on the way. Have you had other people come along the way to help, from a mentorship standpoint or accountability standpoint, and that are in the industry or whatnot?
Yeah. So she actually told me that I graduated from her. So I don't see her. I'm not with her anymore. But I actually have a different coach now. I actually have two different coaches. Have one that's a business coach, and one that helps me with other business, other sides of the business. So I have kind of helping me from both sides, and one's a male and one's a female. And because let's be honest, we do think alike, but at the same times we don't. So sometimes it's nice for me to get a male perspective of what I'm doing or what I'm, seeing. So yeah, I still have a coach. I strongly believe that you need a coach when you're an entrepreneur to continue to grow. And I would encourage anybody that is an entrepreneur that feels like they're not making the splash or not on the path that they want to be on, to get a coach, because I think that they can really help put things in perspective and help you see things in a different light.
100% agree. 100% agree.
Yeah.
We're up on time. I know you have to go to a meeting here. So any other thoughts or advice that you give to an aspiring entrepreneur?
I mean, just I'm a huge quotes person. So I think, like I said, find your tribe and love them hard. I think that's extremely important. And whether you do that through networking or however you choose, however you find those people, just get out there and meet people and find people that support you and want for you what you want for yourself. And the other one is, nothing good happens inside comfort zones. So make sure you push yourself outside your comfort zone, because if you don't, you're not going to grow and you're not going to become the flower or the person that you want to become.
Absolutely, man. I love this stuff. I love talking about it. And down the road, we're hoping to have you back on again and hear more about your successes and more of your story. And again, Sara, where can people find you again?
They can find me on www.sarasboxesandboards.com, or they can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest at Sara's Boxes and Boards.
Awesome. Thanks, Sara. And we'll talk very soon.
Yep.